Welcome, brother. I am Antonius, a novice like you. I've been instructed to guide you around the monastery and tell you what you can expect and what your duties will be.
Thanks for helping me out during the ceremony. I had no idea what I was supposed to do.
You don't know Latin, do you? Don't worry. Work in the scriptorium will teach you fast enough. Why exactly are you here? Was it your choice? Or did someone force you to come?
I'm being punished. If it were up to me, I'd still be spending my days in taverns and my nights with whores.
I don't envy you. Unfortunately, you're here for the rest of your life.
Would you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a novice and I'm here because I'd make a poor merchant. I like books and I want an education. Although I must say, so far the monastic life's been quite unexpected.
Let's go then.
Good. But before we do, here's a letter directly from the prior telling you all your regular duties from tomorrow onwards. Make sure to read it this evening so you know how things work. Right, we can go now. Follow me closely. I'll explain everything as we go. Remember one word. It's your job to work in practice. You serve the Lord, not your own bodily needs. Salve. Be well. This is the way to the dormitory, where we all sleep. You'll find a free bed there, which is now yours. Do you know the first thing the monastery taught me? To appreciate sleep. We rise before dawn every day. Takes a bit of getting used to. This is the garden, a place for silent contemplation and meditation. Centuries ago, this monastery was founded by the most esteemed of brothers, Saint Procopius. His earthly remains can be found in a cave under the monastery, and his spirit wanders the corridors at night, punishing any misbehaving novices. So beware. Here are the frattery and scriptorium, together with the library. These are the places where we work. Ora et labora. Pray and work. As a novice, you must always listen to your superior brethren, and above us monks are the priors, the secators, who punish every infraction. You'll know them by the canes they carry. Do what they say. This is the refectory, where we come together to eat. During meals, you must be silent. Only one brother reads aloud from the Rule of Saint Benedict. The Rule is the only law we recognize, with the exception of those from God himself. If you break any of its precepts, expect a swift punishment. But I've already told you about the circuitous. The library, the pride of our monastery, a trove of learning. We don't just read books here, we also copy them. You, too, will learn how. And that's all. Today you are still free from duty, but tomorrow you begin work like the others. If you need anything, ask any of the brothers. We'll be glad to help you. And I recommend you get to know the other novices. You already know me. Then there is Siskin, Yodok, and Lucas.
Thanks for showing me around. There's a lot to learn here. I need to make a confession.
I'm no priest, but tell me what you've done. It's probably nothing to worry about.
I'm here in the monastery looking for a thief. He had a hand in burning down the Neuhof stud.
You don't say. And who are you to take such an interest?
That's not important.
Why are you telling me this anyway? What do you want from me?
Perhaps you could help me find him?
The missing thief? If I knew anything, I'd tell you, but I suppose it must be one of the novices. I've only recently heard about the Neuhof incident, and all the other brethren have been here much longer than that.
I know. Aside from me, there are only 4 novices, but still I don't know which one he could be.
3? Please, leave me out of it. And you're right that it could be any one of them. No one knows anything about Lucas. Siskin might be a lot of things, but a monk isn't one of them. And Yodok is a slimy worm. It wouldn't surprise me if he was behind that massacre. Actually, the more I think about it, the less I like that Yodok. He's a treacherous rat who'd do anything to get in someone's good books. The thought of Yodok at Neuhof sends chills up my spine.
Maybe you're right. It's not a pretty thought. Thanks for your help, and please don't say a word to anyone.
Don't fret, my friend. Your secrets are locked inside my lips.
It occurs to me you might be the man to ask. I'm looking for some lockpicks. Do you know anyone in the monastery who could help me?
Lockpicks? You surprise me, brother. And you, a nobleman's son. But you could ask Brother Salarius. They say he used to be a thief.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Who's in charge of things around here?
Truthfully, everyone except us. But officially, Abbot Peter. And soon enough, someone else. As if it mattered. Our life will still be work and prayer.
I see. Are there any rifts between the brothers?
Yes. From the moment talk began about electing a new abbot, it's been like a hornet's nest here. Strange you haven't noticed.
Tell me something about electing the abbot.
Abbot Peter is old. When he dies, they'll have to select a new abbot from amongst the brethren. The candidates are John and Nevlas. And if you ask me for my opinion, Nevlas is definitely the right man. Unfortunately, no one cares about my opinion because novices get no say.
Tell me something about life here.
Work, prayer, as if you didn't know. We serve God, and that's the central truth of our lives.
What are the roles of the various monks here?
Someone takes care of the library, someone else the garden. The abbot supervises everyone, and in his absence, the prior. But it's the circators you should worry about. They're the brothers who'll make sure we observe the rule. They can be quite strict, so if you want to avoid getting punished, always act righteously and do your duties honestly.
Who's in charge of things around here?
Truthfully, everyone except us. But officially, Abbot Peter. And soon enough, someone else. As if it mattered. Our life will still be work and prayer.
Are there already candidates to be the new abbot?
Brothers John and Nevlas. But the others have been fighting like dogs because of them. We don't have to fight about anything, though.
This John, who is he?
A circator, and really just an unpleasant old man. It's mostly the older brothers on his side, because they believe he'll protect the status quo and all the benefits that come with long service here.
Tell me something about Nevlas.
Nevlas manages the monastery's property. He's what they call the provost. He'd like to bring back solemnity to the monastery through reform and by returning to pure faith. A lovely idea, but most of the monks are against it.
Why can't novices vote?
They say we don't have enough experience to decide about anything. Don't worry, we'll get our chance.
Why is who wins so important?
We're young and we'll spend the rest of our lives here. And the abbot decides everything about our lives. Didn't it ever occur to you how powerful he is?
Who would you choose as the new abbot if you could?
Why should I even think about that when I don't have the right to vote? Gregor, don't go poking your nose into other people's business. You'll sleep better at night.
salve.
What do we have here? A nice sharp dagger. Now what would a monk need that for? It looks like I found a little monastic treasure trove. I wonder who stashed that here.
My name's Gregor, a novice.
You can call me Siskin. Now, are you here of your own free will, or is this a punishment? Although, it's not important. Welcome to Purgatory.
Did you say purgatory?
You'll see soon enough. Soon enough.
Will you tell me something about yourself?
Look, nothing against you, but I prefer not to talk about my past.
Are you hiding something? Why are you so reluctant to tell me anything about yourself?
I'm hiding a lousy past that I'd rather forget. I hate to think of all I lost when they stuck me in here. And also because I really hate the question, aren't you the son of the famed Sir Smil Flashka of Pardubitz? I was rich and I had everything. But then my father began to feel his time approaching, so he decided to send a son to the monastery. And, being the youngest, the lot fell on me. I've no head for managing the estate, and they said I'd squander it. Can you imagine? Me in a monastery. So I took what coin I could from home with me, so I didn't lose out completely.
But you didn't have to come here if you didn't want to.
No, not if I didn't mind being left to beg alms by the city gate. I had one choice, the monastery or nothing. If it had come to that after my father's death, so be it. But to get rid of me while he's still alive...
They must have realized you robbed them.
I donated some of the silver to the monastery when I came in, just to piss them off. I can just see my my siblings, arguing with the abbot to give it back.
And you stashed away the remainder?
Indeed so.
What's your plan with this treasure?
To get out of here as soon as I can. I'll wait another year or two until my hot-headed brothers cool off a bit, and then I'll take the silver and run off somewhere, far, far away from here.
That's all I wanted to know.
Please, keep it to yourself, especially the part about the coin.
How is it that you don't get any penance for missing morning prayers?
I've paid off the circators to turn a blind eye. And the other monks don't notice as long as you show your face there from time to time. No one's too awake at that time of the morning.
I'd be interested to hear what you think about the other novices. Tell me about Antonius.
Oh, if there was a monk I'd recommend as a friend, with of course the exception of myself, it would be Antonius. He has a calm soul, he's easy to talk to, and you can always rely on him.
That's all. Thanks. Who would you elect, Abbot, if you could?
Most likely Nevlas. He's a fine fellow and he seems honest. But, truth be told, it doesn't matter much to me. A monastery will still be a monastery, no matter who's in charge. If you really want to talk more about it, ask Antonius. He seems to have taken an interest.
I found this piece of parchment. It looks like it's been ripped out of a book.
The words mean nothing to me. Ask in the library.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Well, that's all. Thank you for your time, brother.
Praise be to Christ, brother.
I'm still curious about this treasure trove of yours.
It's no big, terrible secret. Really, it isn't. I just go and read during services. There's no time otherwise. I mean, at other times, I don't get to read what I like. And I keep it under the slab so the others don't find it.
What kind of a book is it?
I found it here in the library. It was on a shelf where it should never have been. So I hid it to read later. It's the Necronomicon. Ghosts, demons, and invocations of powers beyond our world. Only it's written in a strange language that I can't really make sense of. All bara this and bara that. Who knows what it means? I tried to count the syllables, read the words backwards, but nothing. I'm not getting anywhere with it.
Oh, I'm not too sure what the prior or the cicada would say about a book like that. Actually, what anyone would say. It sounds quite prohibited.
Prejudice. But you're right, it is prohibited. For no good reason, though. Has knowledge ever done anybody any harm?
You're right. Knowledge should never be prohibited.
Oh, I'm glad you agree. Just take a look at the book. Maybe you'll be able to make some sense of it. I haven't grasped a single syllable. Just please don't tell anyone about the book. If the brothers learn that I took it from the library and hid it, I'll be in a lot of trouble. Our brothers' minds are closed to a thirst for knowledge.
There's a lot of coin in the stash. You have to admit it looks suspicious.
I admit it might look that way. But if I tell you what I'm hiding from everybody, I think you'll understand why. I hate to think of all I lost when they stuck me in here. And also because I really hate the question, aren't you the son of the famed Sir Smil Flashka of Pardubitz? I was rich and I had everything. But then my father began to feel his time approaching, so he decided to send a son to the monastery. And, being the youngest, the lot fell on me. I've no head for managing the estate, and they said I'd squander it. Can you imagine? Me, in a monastery. So I took what coin I could from home with me, so I didn't lose out completely.
What about the dagger?
That's a memento of better times. Father gave me that when I was a little lad. And it's done right by me more than once, when I got drunk somewhere with the wrong sort of people.
Do you know how to fight?
And how? Boozing and brawling. God, how I miss that here.
Tell me more about the book.
I found it here in the library. It was on a shelf where it should never have been. So I hid it to read later. It's the Necronomicon. Ghosts, demons, and invocations of powers beyond our world. Only it's written in a strange language that I can't really make sense of. All bara this and bara that. Who knows what it means? I tried to count the syllables, read the words backwards, but nothing. I'm not getting anywhere with it.
Oh, I'm not too sure what the prior or the cicada would say about a book like that. Actually, what anyone would say. It sounds quite prohibited.
Prejudice. But you're right, it is prohibited. For no good reason, though. Has knowledge ever done anybody any harm?
You're right. Knowledge should never be prohibited.
Oh, I'm glad you agree. Just take a look at the book. Maybe you'll be able to make some sense of it. I haven't grasped a single syllable. Just please don't tell anyone about the book. If the brothers learn that I took it from the library and hid it, I'll be in a lot of trouble. Our brothers' minds are closed to a thirst for knowledge.
I'll leave you be. Don't worry, I won't follow you again.
Thank you. And please, Gregor, don't mention it to anyone.
Greetings, brother. I'm Gregor, and I'm new here.
Greetings to you, brother. I'm Yodok, the oldest of the novices. I hope you'll like it here in the monastery and that you won't get into trouble.
Trouble?
You're young, perhaps intemperate. You might easily stray from the rules of the order. I suggest you get to know the older monks. You never know when it might come in handy.
I'm interested in the other novices. What can you tell me about Siskin?
Oh, he's always got a smile on the new friend. But I reckon he don't belong in the monastery. He spends more time dreaming of the world outside than tending to his duties. I'm surprised he hasn't been thrown out already. If it was up to me, he'd be out on his ear right away.
Sounds like you don't have much time for him.
I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. Believe me, Gregor, he's hiding something from us. In fact, now I come to think of it, I haven't seen him at morning prayers for a while.
Do you know anything about Antonius?
Only that he came to the monastery voluntarily, because he didn't want to work in his father's shop. Antonius is all right. You can rely on him. He won't betray your confidence. He's always happy to help, which is more than can be said for the other brothers.
What can you tell me about Siskin?
Oh, he's always got a smile on the new friend. But I reckon he don't belong in the monastery. He spends more time dreaming of the world outside than tending to his duties. I'm surprised he hasn't been thrown out already. If it was up to me, he'd be out on his ear right away.
Can you tell me something about yourself?
I would if there was anything noteworthy to say. But I'm just the ordinary son of a landowner, now a monk. There's nothing in my past, present, or future that anyone could find interesting.
Why did you join the monastery?
Because it was better than living in poverty. As the youngest son, I'm not entitled to inherit my father's estate, but he was kind enough to sell off some cattle and send me here. And you know what? I'm glad to be here. It's better than mucking out manure.
Who would you vote for as the new abbot if you could?
Why do you care? We don't have the right to vote, so we shouldn't get mixed up in it.
I'm just interested, that's all.
I like John better. But like I've said, it's not our place to get involved. It's enough that Antonius is mixed up in it. Don't you start too.
Peace be with you, brother. Abbot Peter's health is deteriorating. They say he won't make it to the autumn.
No. Peter has a strong constitution. He'll still be on this earth for many years to come.
I wish all good health upon him, but I want change, and only a new abbot can bring that.
Waiting pays off. There's no hurry.
You're right. It stunk like a wine barrel in there. And it's not the first time. It's a mystery, but one that will soon be solved. It's a wonder the prior doesn't check everyone's breath in the morning. Then he'd soon get his man.
I'm Gregor, a novice. I saw you at the ceremony.
I know. It was hard not to notice you.
And you are?
Lucas, also a novice. Don't get upset, but I don't want to talk to you. I'm happiest alone.
Will you tell me something about yourself?
There's nothing I can tell you.
I mean, where you're from, what sort of life you had before, that sort of thing.
I'm a novice, and my monastic name is Lucas. Nothing else matters.
Come on. Is there really nothing at all you can tell me?
I could, but I don't want to. I'm sorry. I want to stay focused on work and prayer, not on who I once was. I never will be again. What has been isn't important for us. We cast the past aside when we walked through the monastery gates and took our oath. Never forget that.
I'd like to know something about the other novices.
I don't know much, but ask away.
What can you tell me about Siskin?
Not a lot. I don't know him. Actually, I don't know much about him at all, except that he's not a stickler for rules.
Do you know anything about Yodok?
I don't. He doesn't like me, and he's on very friendly terms with the Circators. That's about it.
Tell me about Antonius.
I'd like to, but there's nothing to tell. I've never spoken to him. I've never asked about him.
Are you joking? Don't you know anyone at all here?
Why should I?
I'd have thought you might want to know who you'll be spending the rest of your life with. I definitely do. In fact, I probably already know more about them than you do.
Don't get upset. I'm sorry I can't tell you more. I just haven't felt like getting to know anyone yet.
If you could, who would you vote for to be the abbot?
But I can't vote, so what's the point of worry? Ask Antonius. He often talks about it, and I'm sure he has an opinion.
I've heard that you, that you enjoy the company of men. Is there any truth to it?
What? How do you know that?
I read it in the abbot's book.
What? The abbot's book is locked up in his chambers, and he'd never allow anyone to read it. Did you break in? But why? Just so you could dig something up on me?
I was looking for something else, but I just happened to come across your story.
No matter what you were looking for, you crossed a line that shouldn't be crossed. But don't worry, I won't tell on you if you promise me the same. Yes, you can call me a sodomite, a sinner, a monster, the spawn of Satan. But tell me this, Gregor. Can I help the way I am? I tell you, it's a test of my faith. A test so daunting you can't even imagine it.
You're right. I found it interesting, but I'm not judging you. You are the way you are. You should be true to yourself.
I'm glad you aren't like the others. Thank you for not passing judgment. I swear to God, I've never lain with another man. I've never sinned. When my father wanted me to find a wife and start a family, I told him the truth, and he had me sent here. And in a way, I was glad. My guilt had been consuming me, and I knew in the monastery I'd find peace. The Lord sees my soul, and he knows it's pure.
Will you tell me something about yourself?
There's nothing I can tell you.
I mean, where you're from, what sort of life you had before, that sort of thing.
I'm a novice, and my monastic name is Lucas. Nothing else matters.
Come on. Is there really nothing at all you can tell me?
I could, but I don't want to. I'm sorry. I want to stay focused on work and prayer, not on who I once was. I never will be again. What has been isn't important for us. We cast the past aside when we walked through the monastery gates and took our oath. Never forget that.
There's something I should tell you. Something secret. I'm looking for someone here in the monastery.
You're looking for someone? But you're a novice, aren't you?
I am a novice. At least until I find the man I'm looking for.
Why would you be looking amongst monks? You know, the laws of man aren't valid here. In the cloister, we're subject to divine law, the law of the church.
I'm looking for a footpad who's hiding out here in the monastery. He had a hand in raising the Neuhoff farm. He's taken many lives.
I heard something about that. But why are you telling me all this?
Because you could help me. It has to be one of the other novices.
That can't be. Have you told the prior? What are you going to do to this man once you find him?
Talk to him. Then I'll see. Do you have any idea which of the novices could be the imposter I'm looking for?
I don't know, and I don't care to know. I wish you'd never told me. Now I won't be able to sleep at night. Peace be with you, brother.
I'm Gregor, a novice.
I know. I saw you at the ceremony. My name is Nevlis, and I'm the provost here. I'm in charge of the monastery's property, as well as handling trade with the outside world.
That means you get to leave the monastery?
No, not at all. I just write lists and send them out.
Tell me about yourself.
I'm the provost of this monastery. It's my job to ensure the monks live a humble life and that any surpluses go to the poor. But in reality, I spend all my time making sure my brother's gluttony and the construction of a new church don't swallow up the few resources we have left.
I'm interested in the election of the new abbot.
You're not alone. Everyone's so worked up about that they spent no time considering how they could make the monastery a better place now.
Why? What's wrong with it now?
Many brothers think more about their stomachs than prayer. The older brethren bend the rules of the order to make them fit their interests. So, to balance the scales, they want the novices to lead exemplary lives. Sin abounds here, just as in the outside world.
What sins are you talking about?
The scripture says, "Let he who is without sin cast the first stone." I'm sorry, Gregor, it's not my place to speak about the sins of others.
Tell me something about how the new abbot will be elected.
A new abbot has to be elected once the old one dies. All the brethren can vote, with the exception of novices. The abbot's crozier will be conferred on whoever is chosen, and he'll take the vow. When he becomes abbot, a monk spends most of his time dealing with politics outside the monastery, instead of actually leading the monastery. But he still maintains a fundamental influence on life here.
Can you tell me about Abbot Peter?
Peter's wise in the ways of politics and a good shepherd, but as you've already heard, he's old and infirm. The other brothers see him with one foot in the grave, but I still have hope for him. But you, brother, don't let yourself get involved in the games of your superiors. Could you help me with something?
With what?
I'm interested in medicine, and I know there's a cure for the abbot's ailment. With your help, I could find out the details, and together you and I could give old Peter a few more years to do good. What do you say?
What do you need me for?
In order to get the recipe for this medicament, a few rules will need to be broken. Now you know most of the brothers believe every illness is a message from God, and that it's not our place to deny his will. I, however, think if God sent us not just illnesses, but also the medicine to cure them, then it's our duty to relieve people of their suffering. The cure for Abbot Peter's illness could be contained in one of the books in our library, but it will certainly be amongst the Libri Prohibiti, the forbidden books, those we aren't permitted to read.
Why are they forbidden?
Because they contain occult and demonic practices, witchcraft and all manner of evil. Or so some people claim. It's nonsense, of course. This is nothing but a book of medicine, albeit one written by a pagan. Ibn Sina, also known as Avicenna, is universally acknowledged to be a wise man. But here, at some point, someone decided his book is the work of a Saracen devil and must be kept under lock and key. Since then, no one can even talk about the book. But the three wise men were from the East, were they not?
Where can I find it?
In the library, there's a large cabinet with a lock on it. The forbidden books are inside. You'll easily recognize what you're looking for. The cover has not only a Latin inscription, but also Saracen letters. Bring it to me, but leave the other books there. No one will notice if one book disappears, but if more were to vanish, someone would certainly begin to look into it, which is exactly what we don't want.
Is there anything you can tell me that would help?
There's a key to the cabinet in the prior's chambers. The librarian should have another one, or you can acquire some lockpicks. But I can't tell you where or how. Perhaps Brother Celerius could help.
Why can't you do it yourself?
Because I'm one of the highest-ranking monks here, and one day I'd like to become abbot. Can you imagine me crawling around in the black of night searching for a forbidden book?
You could just ask for it.
Do you honestly think I haven't tried? Unfortunately, Librarian Cyril is a stubborn ass.
I'm ready.
One more important thing. There's always someone in the library during the day. To pass unwatched, you'll need to go at night. It's locked, but I'm sure you'll manage to get in. They say Brother Celerius understands locks, but don't tell him why you need it. Once you have the book, bring it to me, and I'll then use it to make Peter's medicine. We'll soon have the election of the abbot over and done with.
Here's the book you wanted.
Amazing. This really is it. Now I can use it to prepare a cure for our suffering abbot. Then I'll leave it in the library to make it seem as if Brother Librarian left it lying about. There'll be no investigation. It would be against his best interests, as he'll look like the one who wasn't taking proper care of the books. It will drive him mad. I didn't leave that book out, or did I? Is there anything I can do for you in return?
I'd be interested in finding out the background of the other novices.
That's a strange wish you have. And the only ones who know everything about the novices are the abbot and the prior. They keep a record of every monk in the abbot's book, but you'll never get your hands on it. It's locked up in the prior's study.
Thanks. You've helped me immensely.
No, thank you. About that book, don't even think about breaking in to get it.
Is there any way I could help you get elected? Somehow tip the scales in your favour?
What would you like to do? Climb up the tower and shout, "Vote for Nevlus, vote for Nevlus"?
Not exactly. You do have an opponent, John.
John isn't my opponent, he's my brother. Just like you and everyone else here. We're all brothers in Christ. But there is something you could help me with. You must know there's a great deal of iniquity here in the monastery. I'd be interested to hear of anything I don't know about.
Should I find out for you what's going on around here?
Let me make this clear. I want to base my candidacy on putting things in order. But if I don't know exactly what's wrong, then my promises are just empty slogans.
Very good then. I'll find out what I can.
Thank you, brother.
I've discovered something about the wrongs being committed here.
I see. Tell me more.
Brother Siskin is hiding treasure he owned before he became a monk.
It doesn't surprise me. It's not the first time that's happened, and it won't be the last. I wouldn't punish him, but you can talk to him about it. Perhaps God will guide him, and he'll gladly give up his mammon.
That's all I know.
If you find out anything else, come to me. I'd be interested to hear it.
What do you want me to find out?
I'd be interested to hear about any iniquity in the monastery. I need to prepare myself for what I'll be facing.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Who's in charge of things around here?
Abbot Peter is the administrator of the monastery, but you won't see him. He's always traveling, and on top of that, he's old and infirm. Perhaps the good Lord will bless him with many more years of life.
And what happens when the old abbot dies?
Then we elect a new one.
Tell me something about life here.
Prayer, work, obedience. That just about sums it up.
Can you tell me something about the rule of St. Benedict?
7 centuries ago, Saint Benedict of Nursia wrote a collection of monastic rules, which we still follow today. They're read at every meal. The fundamental precepts are obedience, work, and prayer. We're fully devoted to serving God. The outside world, beyond the monastery walls, is foreign to us.
Do you never want to know what's going on out there?
And what should be going on? The sky is just as blue and the grass is just as green. Perhaps the rulers change, but the greatest ruler of them all will remain unchanged through the ages.
I'm interested in the monastery's history.
It was founded by St. Procopius 500 years ago. After his death, heretics occupied the place for some time, but then the order was restored and brothers of the true faith returned.
Heretics, you say?
They wanted to worship God with some foreign rituals in a language foreign to God. They were driven away and their books burned.
What are the roles of the various monks here?
Well, the abbot is the head, but he's not here now. Then there's the prior and the sub-prior, the librarian, the porter, and many others. As a novice, you should be particularly mindful of the circuitors. They're the ones who maintain discipline and punish bad behavior.
What can you tell me about the novices here?
What can I say? You're here to demonstrate your devotion to God and to live a monastic life. After a year, you can make your vows and become a fully fledged brother.
I meant something specific about the brothers that are here.
But you know them yourself. Yodok is an odd one, but he's diligent and eager, perhaps too eager. Siskin is good company, but a bit too worldly for a monk. Antonius is hard-working and will help with anything, but prays less than he ought. Lucas is as quiet as a mouse, and no one knows much about him. And then we have you, about who I know nothing.
Can you leave the monastery?
Where would you go? You have everything you need here. Anyway, all the doors here are closed and locked tight, so no one can get in or out.
Ah, this looks like the Saracen language. Ibn al-Hassan. That's who I'm looking for. Avicenna.
I wouldn't expect too much of it.
No. Why's that?
There was only a handful of bandits there.
A handful? There was dozens of them. And foreign heathens, too.
Is that right?
There was a great, big battle. Them fuckers filled the whole of Pribyslavitz. The Tamburg garrison had to get reinforcements to beat them. There's wounded lying at Tamburg now, and plenty new graves in Ujits, but they cleared that wasp's nest good and proper.
If you say so. But I still reckon we haven't seen the last of it. That Sigismund is still on the rampage, attacking the nobles one by one across the land. And brigands are like weeds. Burn them down and they just sprout up somewhere else. That's not the half of it. What about the attack on Merhojed? While the lords are dealing with one lot of marauders in Pribyslavitz, there's another bunch pillaging somewhere else. There'll be no peace as long as Sigismund goes on ransacking Bohemia, sure as the sun circles the earth.
You know how to lift a fellow's spirits. Breath in the morning, then he'd soon get his man.
What have we here? That's it. The book with information about the novices. Interesting. But I still don't know which one of them is pious. The forbidden books must be in that cabinet.
You've seen us drinking here, so either join in or swear you won't tell a soul. You wouldn't want to end up like Lucas now, would you?
All right. I wouldn't mind some wine.
That's more like it. Sit down and have a drink, my lad. I'll say one thing, brother. This wine would grace the Pope's table.
I'm not so sure. It's a bit sour. God knows what's in it.
Don't be absurd. It's a first-class cask, direct from Znojmo.
What is it, brother?
What are you doing here?
What does it look like? Drinking?
But we're all monks.
Youngster, when you're as old as I, you'll understand.
But you're the cicators. You're the ones meant to be keeping order here. How can gambling and drinking be a fitting part of a monk's life?
Well, if you really want to know, see for yourself.
All right. Have it your way.
Praise be to Christ, brother.
You mentioned Yodok. What does he do for you?
Nothing much. He's just a little suckling like you. He'll do whatever it takes to stay on our good side. Sometimes we make use of him when there are errands to run.
Where'd you get the wine from? I thought the monastery cellars were guarded.
So they are, but this wine isn't from the monastery. Listen, lad, would you help us out with something? This cask is almost empty, and we need a new one. We're a bit old for such exertions. But you, on the other hand...
I'll help you. What do I need to do?
Ha! I knew it. Help Novice Yodok arrange for a new cask. Talk to him first thing in the morning, and by tomorrow night the cask can be on the table.
All right, I'll talk to him. Let's play!
Just the man we've been waiting for. My friend, so, let's play.
What's there left to drink?
To our fresh young novices, our swift steeds, and our boundless...
Vessels with quicksilver in them.
Down the hatch.
Every gulp a treat, isn't that the truth?
No wonder. With our throats going dry all day. Praise be to Christ, brother.
What troubles you?
In the night, I overheard the cicadas in the cellar. They were talking about you.
Oh, no. So it's still not over. This isn't a life in service of God. This is purgatory.
Lucas, what's going on?
What do you think? Just like you, I saw the cicadas drinking and playing hazard as if they were in a brothel.
We'd be safer not to get mixed up in the affairs of our superior brethren.
You're probably right. But I was naive and hoped I could fix things. I warned them if they didn't stop, I'd go and tell the prior. But instead of mending their ways, they vented their anger on me. You've picked the wrong people to make enemies of, Lucas, they told me. Now I can't even count how many days and nights I've spent locked up in solitary confinement for the tiniest offences, or for no offence at all.
Is there something I can do to help?
Would you? I think all it might take is for you to go and sit down with them. Have a talk, set things straight. Then they'd leave me alone. But I'm afraid even this path leads nowhere. They'd probably start hounding you as well.
I'm not afraid of them.
Brother, you have the courage I lack. May the grace of God be upon you.
Ah, Gregor, talk to me.
Not now, brother. After Mass.
I'm Gregor and I'm new here.
I know. I saw you in the church during the ceremony. I have a feeling we'll be meeting again soon, and often. You see, I'm a Cicator.
What does that mean?
I make sure everyone observes the rule, does their work, and that everything is the way it should be.
And when it's not the way it should be?
And then we're authorized to mete out punishment. But certainly you won't require correction, will you, brother?
About you in the election, will you tell me more about it?
Ask me anything you want.
Tell me something about Nevlas.
Nevlas is weak and toothless. He's full of hot hair. How anyone could think he'd make a good abbot is beyond me. Enough. I don't even want to hear his name again.
I'd like to know what's going on here.
Well, the young brothers feel they don't have the same rights and responsibilities as we, who have spent much of our lives here. And what of it? Privilege needs to be earned. Nevlas is lying when he says he wants to right wrongs. All he cares about are benefits for himself and his cronies.
Thank you for answering. Brother Cicator, my friend.
What would you like? To be relieved from duties?
No, I'm here because of Novice Lucas. I've heard there's some discord with him.
Only because that weasel wants to put an end to our nighttime fun. So, we're letting him know who's in charge here.
I'd appreciate it if you treat him like a brother again.
Well, if he isn't afraid of us, there's nothing to stop him ratting us out. But what do you care anyway? Grown fond of him, have you?
He hates you because you trample all over him and he has nothing to lose. If you show him just a bit of kindness, he'll think again about taking you on. You'll see.
Fine, you've convinced me. You can tell him things have been straightened out, but he'd better be on his best behavior from now on. Beware of Lucas. He might corrupt you.
What do you mean?
He's a sodomite, a sinner. He might try to get you into the habit, or out of it.
I didn't know that. Thanks for the warning.
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
I found a dagger in your stash.
And why shouldn't you have? I did hide it there after all. Do you often go through other people's belongings?
Only when necessary.
And was it necessary? Are you looking for someone or something? Maybe if you tried just asking, you'd have better luck. That dagger's the only thing I have left of my father. It was in our old shop, under the counter. Father kept it there to protect himself from thieves. When I was little, I admired that dagger so much. I asked Father if he'd give it to me when I was older. He always said yes, but only after he was dead.
Go on, please.
Now Father's dead and I'm here. That piece of steel is the only thing I have left from the outside world. I know it's not suitable for a monk, but I can't part with it. Now you can give it back to me. Thou shalt not steal.
Here it is.
Thank you. It means a lot to me.
To my mouth. I was mute and was humble, yet silence even for good things. Here the
Peace be with
prophet
you,
said that
brother.
The spirit of silence ought to lead us at times to refrain from good speech. So much the more ought the punishment for sin make us avoid evil words. Therefore, since the spirit of silence is so important, permission to speak should rarely be granted even to perfect disciples, even though it be for good, holy, much speaking, you will not escape sin. And in another place, death and life are in the power of the tongue. For speaking and teaching belong to the master. The disciples' part is to be silent and listen. And for that reason, if anything has to be asked of the superior, it should be asked with all the humility and submission inspired by reverence. But as for coarse jests and idle words, or words that move to laughter, these we condemn everywhere with a perpetual ban. And for such conversation we do not permit a disciple to open his mouth. The rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on the abbot. Therefore, when anyone receives the name of abbot, he ought to govern his disciples with a twofold teaching. That is to say, he should show them all that is good and holy, by his deeds even more. Whom more is committed, from him let him make no. Correct with verbal admonition the first and second time, but bold, hard, proud, and disobedient characters he should curb at the very beginning.
You've got a strong constitution. Anyone else would have certainly died.
What happened?
Let me tell you a little story. Once upon a time, there was a young boy. He was lost and miserable. He had no future. He was tempted by his friends into doing some foolish things, but he wasn't truly bad, because when it came down to it, he ran away rather than keep doing foolish deeds. His former friends didn't take kindly to that, though, and wanted to punish him. So they sent a hunting dog to find him and rip his throat. The boy wasn't stupid, though, and he knew that the hound was coming. He poisoned some food, and when the hound showed up, he gave it to him. He didn't expect the beast to live, but it did. And all of a sudden, the boy was sorry for what he tried to do. So he offered to make a bargain with the hound.
It was you that poisoned me.
Don't take it personally. Kill or be killed. You know, we're both pawns in someone else's game. They have plans for us, but we don't have to let them use us. We can just forget all about it and go our own way. I was a bandit, and I was at Nyhoff. I've robbed and stolen, but I swear to God I've never in my life slain innocent people. What I saw at Nyhoff made me realize my life was worth shit, but I still had a chance to change for the better. Here in the monastery, I've had plenty of time to think things over. But then you showed up and fucked it all up.
So the evildoer changes his ways and finds God. What exactly are you proposing?
Both of us can leave this place. You can go back to your people, and I can go somewhere where I can live out my life in peace, and no one will try to kill me. If we work together, we can both get what we want.
You're right. But the people who sent me will find out if I don't kill you.
They won't if we're clever about it. No one has to die. Before we make a run for it, we'll make it look like someone's killed me. Loads of blood, a tattered scrap of my habit, and footprints leading towards the river. No one will bother looking for my body there. There we'll split up. You go for your bounty, and I'll get as far away from here as I can.
Good. Let's do it your way.
Good. I'm glad that despite our initial discord, we could reach an agreement. Here, take something to calm your stomach. Now we'll need the keys to the monastery and some blood to make the tracks.
What are you going to do?
I need to get ready for a long journey. Prepare supplies, get some normal clothing somehow, that sort of thing.
You can escape in that habit, but I need to vanish as fast as I can.
What do I need the keys to the monastery for?
How else will we get out? This place is practically a prison.
Do you mean these keys?
What? I'm not going to ask you how you got your hands on those, you devious lad.
And where am I supposed to get my hands on blood in a monastery?
You'll find a parchment in the kitchen with a list of ingredients on it, all the things they're ordering. Add blood for making soup to the list, and when it's delivered the next day, take it before anyone notices it's even come.
All right, that's everything I need to know. I can get started.
Excellent. Come and see me once you have everything, and try to be as fast as you can. And Gregor, thank you.
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
I've discovered something about the wrongs being committed here.
I see. Tell me more.
The older brothers are picking on novice Lucas, punishing him when he doesn't deserve it and humiliating him.
It seems that now even brothers can't avoid worldly evil. Thank you for the information, and if you can, stand up for him. The older brothers are also out to get me. Any action I take, they'll try to use against me.
The Circators go into the cellar at night to drink wine.
I thought so. John always reeks of it. And he wants to be abbot. Hypocrite. Perhaps if you told the prior, that would clip John's wings.
Brother Yodok has been stealing wine for the Circators so they can drink.
Yodok? Well, that little rat's shown his true colours. Do you know where he's stealing it from?
I don't know, unfortunately.
No matter, you've brought me important information.
That's all I know.
If you find out anything else, come to me. I'd be interested to hear it.
I'm here to work.
Excellent. I've been waiting for you. There's the alchemist's laboratory. You'll find ingredients in the chests next to it. Concoct 2 buck's blood potions. Once you finish them, you'll find me somewhere nearby. Don't forget to let me know when you're done so I can check them. Talk to me, brother.
I've finished my work.
Show me what you've made. Spectacular, Gregor. You've found your talent. Soon enough, you'll be teaching the other novices.
Salve, be well.
What would you like?
I found this piece of parchment. It looks like it's been ripped out of a book. Do you know what it is?
It appears to be a page torn out of Ovid.
Ovid? What is that? Is it the name of a book?
Not what, but who? Ovid was a great Roman poet. We have a few volumes by him in the library, but one of them vanished one day. Now I believe I can guess what happened. Brother Eustace, may the earth rest lightly on him, was quite narrow-minded when it came to classical literature. If a book had any mention of woman at all, he condemned it as a heretical work. If he'd had his way, all such books would have been burned. Ovid's The Art of Love must have been such a thorn in his side that he stole it from the library, tore it up, and hid the pages wherever he could.
Oh, would you like me to put the book back together again?
Absolutely. Eustace's wits weren't the sharpest, so I'm sure he didn't destroy any of the pages. I imagine he hid them throughout the monastery. It might take you a while to find them all, but when you do, you can rest assured Ovid will return to his rightful place in the library.
Good. I'll look around for it.
Thank you, brother. It's of no great importance, but if you can find all 10 pages, I'll be most grateful.
Can you tell me something about the book?
The Art of Love is a sort of manual instructing young people how to find and maintain love. It's a lovely work. I don't understand what bothered Eustace so much about it, but as I was saying, he considered the book to be immoral and tore it up to stop it corrupting any of his brothers.
Where should I look?
If I knew, I wouldn't have asked you to do it. The pages of the book could be hidden anywhere, from the garden to the refectory.
I have all the pages of the torn up book. The Art of Love can go back to the library.
Oh, brother, you can't even imagine how happy you've made me. Since you're clearly a true lover of books, I'll give you a reward I've never given another novice. I'll lend you the key to the cabinet containing forbidden books, and you can look at the peculiar things we've accumulated there. That cabinet's strictly off limits to novices, but you've earned my trust. I'm sure you'll recognize that those books contain nothing but dangerous gibberish, and there's a valuable lesson to be learned there.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate your trust. I'm here to work.
Good. This is most likely the first time you've ever done this in your life. But it's easier than you think. Just a bit of practice and learning Latin. Here's the original, and here are the blank parchments on which you'll copy what you read in the original. Is that clear? Then you may begin, and try not to make a mess of it.
Well done, brother. No mistakes.
Don't even look at the cabinet. It contains forbidden books. You're interested in what's inside? Forbidden books, written by the devil himself. Forget about them.
Here the prophet shows that if the spirit of silence ought to lead us at times to refrain even from good speech, so much the more ought the punishment of sin to make us avoid evil works. Therefore, since this the master, the disciple's part is to be silent and to listen. And for that reason, if anything has to be asked of the superior, it should be asked with all the humility and submission inspired by reverence.
My joints started aching just before they raised the skeleton. And now they hurt again. Worse than last time.
I spoke to the cicadas about how they've been treating you.
Really? Did you manage to convince them to leave me alone?
But you have to promise not to tell anyone what you saw them doing. Then they'll leave you alone.
That's a promise I'd be glad to make. I'm forever in your debt, brother. Because now I know I can trust you, there's something I want to tell you. It's about Brother Antonius. I wouldn't like to say something that isn't true. God forbid I should cause harm by my words, but this is something I'm sure of. Novice Antonius is lying to us.
What makes you say that?
He claims he's a merchant's son from Vlashim, and that he joined the order voluntarily. The thing is, I spent a great deal of time in Vlashim. I know it like the back of my hand, and no one even remotely like Antonius has ever lived there.
Are you sure? Because this could mean that...
It's true, or Canute isn't my name. That would be my secular name, by the way, but that's not important. I know Vlashim, and I know the local merchants there, and I've never seen Antonius among them. Why would he be lying if he had nothing to hide?
Thank you for telling me. I'll look into it.
Let's hope. You mean after the Tarnberg attack on the Brigand's secret camp? I wouldn't expect too much of it.
No. Why's that? There was only a handful of bandits there. A handful? There was dozens of them. And foreign heathens, too. Is that right? There was a great, big battle.
Brother Sir King, he can't sleep and prays long.
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
What would you like?
What was I supposed to get again?
Christ almighty! How many holes do you have in that head of yours? The keys to the monastery and the goat skin of blood. The keys are the most important, or at least some lockpicks.
Be well.
Salve, be well. Praise be our Lord Jesus.
Salve, Domine.
not correct it with words. And again, beat your son with the rod, and you will deliver his soul from death. The rule of Saint Benedict. Therefore, when anyone receives the name of abbot, show them all that is good and holy, by his deeds even more than by his words, expounding the Lord's commandments in words to the intelligent among his disciples, but demonstrating the divine precepts by his actions for those of harder hearts and ruder minds. The abbot should always remember what he is and what he is called, and should know that characters, he should curb at the very beginning of their ill doing by stripes and other bodily
What is it, brother?
I'm here to work.
Excellent. I've been waiting for you. There's the alchemist's laboratory. You'll find ingredients in the chests next to it. Today it's your task to concoct 2 potions to aid digestion. Once you finish them, you'll find me somewhere nearby. Don't forget to let me know when you're done so I can check them. Salve Domine. Talk to me, brother.
I've finished my work.
Show me what you've made. Spectacular, Gregor. You've found your talent. Soon enough, you'll be teaching the other novices.
Gloria in excelsis Deo, et in terra pax hominibus bonet voluntatis. In unum Deum, Patrem omnipotentem, Factorem celi et terrae, visibilium omnium et invisibilium, et in unum Dominum Iesum Christum, Filium Dei unigenitum,
Ah, Gregor, talk to me.
et ex
I'm here to work.
Excellent. I've been waiting for you.
et vivificantem, vi ex Patre filioque procedit, vi cum Patre et Filio simul adoratur et cum glorificatur, vi locutus est et prophetas.
Well done, brother. No mistakes.
What troubles you?
I have everything we need for the escape.
Excellent. Straight after Vespers, we'll meet in the dormitory. We'll have to get it all done before the monks have finished dinner.
What exactly is your plan? And why can't we do it at night?
We're going to prepare a little riddle they'll never solve. And why at mealtime? Because we need the dormitory as well as the church to be empty. Then at night we'll escape. Do you follow? Take everything with you and don't forget the keys.
Good. Once evening mass ends, I'll be in the dormitory.
God be with you.
Praise be to God. For a moment there I was worried you weren't coming. Give me that blood. This is the exact spot where you pushed me off the gallery. And here's where you dragged my lifeless body. Thank you for helping me out. Now we must each go our own way.
I was glad to help. I did what I needed to do and no one got killed. Now?
Now, get the hell out of here. Steal the first horse I come across and ride until dawn, far, far away from here. I was thinking... Here, take this. Show it to those cutthroat bastards and tell them you found it on me. That should convince them. Especially when they hear about the outcry here after the fires found out we've gone.
Your lucky die?
In a manner of speaking. Hope it brings you more luck than it brought me. Thank you. Thank you for letting me live, Brother Gregor.
My name's Henry.
All right, Brother Henry. May God be with you.